Welcome to Putting the Pieces Together, your final plans for the IQD revaluation. Before we get started, I have a disclaimer. All information and discussions regarding the Iraqi dinar, events, taxes, and plans are for educational and entertainment purposes only, are general in nature, and not intended as investment, legal, or tax advice. Each person's personal and financial situation is unique and different, and the information provided may not apply or work effectively for you. In addition, any information or discussion regarding the Iraqi dinar, if or when the Iraqi dinar may revalue, or what such revaluation, if any, may look like or represent, is not intended to be investment advice and may not be relied upon by you for any purpose whatsoever. In all events, you should discuss any investments you make, including any investments with Iraqi dinar, with independent licensed professionals of your choosing other than us. By signing up for and attending or participating in our informational internet or in-person workshops, seminars, and follow-up meetings, you agree that Bob Adams, David Stephenson, and Tony Elder personally, and Max Plans for Life, Inc., and all affiliate companies, representatives, associates, or employees, information providers, are hereby held harmless from all liability and loss associated with the information and discussions provided, and as to any action or strategies you may choose to implement with regard to the same. So let's talk about this crazy IQD dream that we've been involved with. I know for me it's been 13 years. Some people have been longer. Most people have been less. But we've all been caught up in it. And I call it the dreams of hopium. And during this time we've heard all kinds of pricing coming out of their ideas or anticipation of what the value is going to turn out to be. And so we start out with maybe 50 cents. And we may have it go all the way to $1. It could even go all the way to, $2. And I've heard even some crazy ones at $12. And with those crazy numbers that bounce around out there, we have ideas about mansions and, limousines and yachts and money to burn and giving all that money away. And then obviously charities that takes up most people's idea. Now, here's the problem. Not being prepared for this thing can absolutely take all of those dreams completely away, and they will go right down the drain. Okay? So I'm going to give you a real quick lesson on how to lose it all. First of all, just ask the lottery winners or all those famous athletes who lost everything by not planning. They had poor management of their funds. They were generous to a fault with everyone. They didn't look at continued income streams. And most importantly, they did not pay their taxes. So remember, federal and state taxes are just the beginning of your tax liabilities. So when you purchase anything else along the line, like mansions or cars or toys, whatever, you're just getting started in the tax world. So taxes, they do make up the majority of the money that we earn, approximately 47%. And this is particularly true of windfall gains. So this presentation, we're going to cover how the IQD will be taxed, what options on taxes you need to be aware of, and how to get tax-free gains from your IQD, how to defer those taxes on your IQD, how to limit taxes on your IQD, and then what steps should be taken now, what steps can wait until the RV, when you should seek professional assistance, and then options to streamline your plans now. Now, the IQD revaluation, no matter what you may have heard, is going to be taxed as ordinary income. There has been a massive amount of money, time, and effort in researching this with professionals all over the place. It will be ordinary income. And when you exchange your IQD, it will become this is a two-word statement that I want you to be very much aware of because I want to refer to it a lot, a taxable event. A taxable event. And it's going to be taxed at the highest rate. That's your personal tax bracket. Now, there are steps that can be taken that can reduce, defer, and even eliminate taxes on our anticipated gain, but most of these steps need to be done before the RV. Now, there are 5 main concepts to consider to reduce, defer, or eliminate taxes on the IQD, and these include cashing in, an IQD Roth account, gifting assignments, a charitable remainder unit trust, and then retaining some IQD. So we're going to cover each of these concepts right now. And I don't want you to get lost in the details here, folks. They just demonstrate the process and the value of each. And in the end of the presentation, I'm going to show you a very simple step-by-step plan. That no matter how much IQD you have. And so the first thing on the list we're going to talk about is cashing in your IQD. Now, we've kind of assigned a name to this called the freedom tax, and it was actually coined to me by an attorney, and my wife picked up on it, and yeah, that makes sense. So essentially what it is paying the taxes when you cash it in. Now, when you take your IQD directly to cash it in for personal use, it will be considered a taxable event. So pause for a moment. I want you to see in your mind, just for a little bit, you're walking into the bank. You've got your IQD in your hand. You go up to the teller. You hand them your dinar, and you say, I wish to exchange this for USD. That motion of moving it from your hand to their hand, that is a taxable event. So just keep that in mind as we do the rest of the presentation. Now, this is not the case with a Roth or a CRUT. They're different animals. And the tax rate will be ordinary income. One more time, it's the highest possible. So my suggestion is cash in only what you need to take care of your immediate considerations. Now, I'm going to throw some immediate considerations out here, and these are ideas. Some of them are purely financial, and some of them are psychological. The first one, pay off those debts. You know, I talk literally to thousands of dinar holders, and we all have some very common things that everybody brings to the table. Paying off their debts is going to be one of the major ones, and I like to take a look at it and say simply that the actual step of paying off your debts moves you into another world. It's the ability to be able to see clearly without the mantle of debt hanging on your shoulders. It makes everything easier. I assure you, it makes everything easier. So pay off those debts, and then immediately after that, pay the taxes. Now, you can get some help on this from your tax professional to be able to figure out exactly what it is. But don't wait. Don't delay. Pay it. Get it out of the way. The next thing you need to do is secure some funds for professional assistance. Now, I put that out there because some people say, well, gee, how much, how much? Well, actually, about $10,000 should be more than enough. And I'm going to show you which ones you need during the course of the presentation. So here's an example of the freedom tax. Now, let's say you have 10 million IQD, and let's say the RV is $1. I'm telling you right now, I don't know what it's going to be. I am not stating it's going to be $1. I'm not saying when it's going to be $1. I'm not even projecting to say it will be $1. What I am sharing is only for calculatory purposes. In this presentation, I'm going to use $1. So that would mean that the new value would potentially be $10 million. 10, and then $10 million. All right? So if you cashed it all in, you would pay nearly half, almost $5 million in taxes. Now, that would leave you $5 million for your dreams. So let's go backwards for a little bit and take a look at what were your dreams and how much were they costing you. Well, suddenly the amount of money that you thought was available isn't there. So using the freedom tax has an expense to it. It does have some freedom. Once it's taxed, it's over with. However, you potentially gave up half in order to do that. So next I want to talk to you about is the Roth. This first part is just how a Roth works, and then we'll talk about putting an IQD into the Roth. The Roth retirement account requires the funds from active earnings, meaning that you either have a W-2, a 1099, Schedule C, something that shows active earnings, which payroll taxes or self-employment taxes are being paid, or moved from a current IRA. It's going to be one of those two items. Moving from an IRA will have some taxable events, but right now the tax rates are low, and it could be a really good time to consider doing that. The contributions are limited by income and age requirements. So income limitations look like this. if you make over $134,000 and single, or $196,000 for married, you may not contribute toward a Roth because you made too much money. However, that got changed recently, and I'll talk to you about that in a moment. Also, you're only allowed to contribute $6,000 a year if you're under 50 and $7,000 if you're over 50. Now, there's a backdoor method to create the Roth with an IRA. Now, recently they took off the limitations for contributing to an IRA, but they left those impositions still there when it comes to the Roth. All right? So, the backdoor method would be simply to create an IRA, populate it, and then roll it over into a Roth. Now, you can contribute to a Roth at any age, just as long as the funds meet the above-mentioned qualifications. And unlike an IRA, you're not required to withdraw at 72 years of age or to be penalized for it. However, you should not draw it out until you are 59 and a half years of age. Now, this also has a 5-calendar-year aging requirement. And what that means, it starts on January 1st of the year. So even if you open this thing up in December, you still get the full count for the year. That's how this works. So, trading under the umbrella of a Roth. So once you put the money into your Roth, everything that goes on inside of that is a tax-free item. So because the Roth is populated with already taxed, like I said, they're tax-free. So inside the umbrella, all trading is non-taxable events. You can buy and sell without any tax consequences at all. Now, the trading can be done by conventional resources, outside resources, personal expertise, and an annuity, which is a great option, and we'll talk about that in detail a little later. Now, the IQD Roth, which we are currently going to have a conversation about now, needs to be done prior to the RV. All right, so pause for a moment and let's think about this. I just went over the age requirements. I went over the income requirements. I went over by the age talking about how much you can contribute to it. Okay, but we're taking a look at something that says you're only allowed to put in $6,000 to $7,000 a year. At the current prices that we're able to buy dinar, it's about $1,000 per million. Now, once this thing pops, $6,000 or $7,000 in IQD isn't going to be a heck of a lot. And so the full potential value of an IQD Roth will be lost. This is why, for this particular, this investment that we're involved into, you really want to do it prior to the RV. Now, the way you do that is with what's called a precious metal Roth. Now, this option is designed for metals and exotic currencies like the IQD and requires the items to be vaulted separate from the investor. The IQD has to be owned by the Roth, not you. So it's stored in a certified vaulting service. The vaulting service makes the exchange on your behalf. Now, we're going to go into detail about this a little later, guys, so don't get lost. When you elect to exchange, you simply call the vaulting service, and they call and freeze the value. And that takes care of not worrying about, oh, it's going to change, I haven't got time to do it. The exchange is done quickly, and the funds are sent to the custodial service in a day or two. Now, the setup process for the precious metal Roth looks like this. The Roth is established with what's called a custodial service. The custodial service is a licensed entity, which I'll go over in details here in a moment. And there's an initial registration fee of about $50, and the annual fee for doing this is about $300. And they vary a little bit with custodial services, but usually within $10 to $15. The funds to purchase the IQD is sent to the custodial service, okay? And they purchase the IQD on your behalf for the Roth. So the IQD that you have on hand will not be available to go into the Roth. And I'm encouraging you to hang on to what you have. There are other options available which will have tremendous value to you. Now, the IQD is sent to the vaulting service of your choice. Now, the pros of the precious metal Roth is, while there are many concerns regarding the IQD isn't in your hands, there are guarantees in place to ensure its safety. The notes are purchased from a licensed dealer. The IQD is stored in the segregated vaults to ensure correct deposits per client. The cost is quite minimal. I mean, we're talking $100 a year. The exchange is done when you request at a major bank, and I have Chase on there only as an example. I'm not saying to use Chase. The vault and the transporting of your IQD is insured. So, hey, the dinar you got in the coffee can buried in the backyard out there, yeah, I know you. I know what you're talking about here. Okay? It's not insured. This is. Okay? Now, the process for exchanging it looks like this. When the IQD rate hits your desire. Now, I remind you, you are the captain of your ship. It's not my place. It's not anybody else's place to say, hey, look, it's at this particular rate. You better do it now. That's not our job. This is your job. But when it hits a rate that's what you want it to be, then you contact the vaulting service and you tell them how much IQD you want exchanged. They notify the bank that you've selected of the anticipated exchange for the day, and they transport the IQD to the bank in an armored vehicle. The bank processes the exchange. The thing I like about it is it's going to go through the back doors, not the front where everybody else is standing around watching and gawking what's happening. The funds are sent electronically to the vaulting service, and they forward the electronically sent funds to the client's desired location. Now, in the case of a Roth, the funds are forwarded to the custodial service, or they can be retained and available for investing in metals. Now, after the exchange, you're going to provide a notification to the custodial service of the sale of your IQD. So when you go to receive the funds from your qualified Roth, when the custodial service receives your IQD, you can receive it, say, it's mine. I've already met the 5 years. I'm over 59 and a half. And remember, it has to be aged. There's no way around that part. You've got to be 59 and a half. And you can invest your Roth results. So if your Roth isn't qualified, meaning you're still too young or the 5 years hasn't been met, you can still exchange it and then invest it and let it continue to grow. Or you can roll it over into precious metal Roth and just get more, other types of investments that go in there. So that's what you would do with it. Now, here's the example of the IQD Roth. If you have a 10 million IQD and the RV is $1, one more time, I'm not saying that it is. I'm simply stating for calculatory purposes, we're using $1. So the new value is $10 million. If you put it in a qualified Roth, you would pay Zippo in taxes. And that would leave you with $10 million for your dreams. All right, so pause for a moment. I know I'm hitting you with a fire hose, guys. I know I am. It's a lot of information. That's why I invite you just to relax, because you're going to get some follow-ups to this stuff here. But just stop for a moment. Just realize what your IQD dreams are. What do you want to accomplish with this investment? What have you always wanted out of it? Are you willing to give up half in order to cash it in when it comes to fruition? And you're going to only get half of what it is that you wanted? Or are you willing, and are you in a perfect spot, because not everybody's going to be in the perfect spot, but if you are you willing to put it into a Roth and have that tax-free gain come to you? So now I'm going to talk to you about gifting assignments. Now, this also needs to be done prior to the RV. Okay? Now, estate taxes are calculated after your passing and can be as high as 40%. It applies to your estate if it's valued at $11.58 million for single and $23.16 million if you're married. Now, gifting the IQD in its present value reduces or eliminates estate taxes. However, you will want to create the gifting assignments even if your estate is less than $23 million in value. Having your gifting assignments done helps with your planning. Now, we're going to go pretty detailed in the planning here in a little while, guys, and you'll understand it better then. And it should be used for family or friends and needs to be properly dated and recorded, and it gives clarity to the IRS if questioned. Here's an example. Let's say you have 10 million IQD and the rate's $1. One more time for calculatory purposes only. Your new value is $10 million. Now, because you didn't meet the estate tax requirement, you would pay Zippo and taxes. At least your estate would pay Zippo and taxes, which would mean that your heirs would receive the full value of your estate, leaving $10 million for your heirs. Well, that only makes sense, doesn't it? But if the RV was higher, let's say it was $2 instead of $1, so suddenly we have a $20 million estate. Well, Houston, we got a problem. Okay? So then you have an estate that could potentially be taxed. So the back door to all of this is to have your gifting assignments done, multiples, prior to the RV, so that you can actually give away more dinar and reduce this estate issue. So it's better to have those gifting assignments done now and put them away. So next we're going to talk about a charitable remainder unit trust. And the abbreviation for it is a CRUT. You'll hear me talk about that quite a bit this evening. Now, a special note regarding the charitable remainder unit trust. In doing interviews with thousands, literally thousands of IQD holders, I have found some very common desires. Almost everybody would like to have a steady retirement income, one that they can count on. They definitely want to share with families and friends. Majority of the people really want to share with charities, which I find absolutely inspiring. And they want to create a legacy for future generations to come. Now, the value of the CRUT is that you can accomplish all of those desires with just this one option. And this is why I talk about the CRUT a lot. It is a great opportunity. Now, it's best done, the preparation is best done prior to the RV. Now, the only other umbrella where transactions or investments can be completed tax-free is in a CRUT. So you can grow the CRUT account by investing the funds in it. So the trustee, which would be you, is paid a percentage of the gross value of the CRUT at predetermined periods. You can get paid monthly, quarterly, semi-annual, or annually. The fees that you receive as the trustee beneficiary are taxed as ordinary income, and they are not tax-free. Now, the Roth gives it to you tax-free. This doesn't. But this defers the taxation where the freedom tax doesn't. The CRUT is a legal entity designed for charitable support from investments that are specific for that purpose. However, the CRUT can be used as a marvelous method of cashing in part of your IQD at a particular price because you're the captain and you determined it, but only paying taxes when the distributions were made. So you can monitor the values of your IQD and deposit more in your CRUT as you determine. So in addition to having the option to cash in at a favored rate, the full use of the CRUT would include the exchanged IQD into USD, which can be used to purchase an annuity. An annuity is a long-term investment that's issued by an insurance company designed to help protect you from the risk of outliving your income. It's one of the greatest fears of all, guys, is outliving the money. Your contributions and invested gains are converted into periodic payments that can last for life. All right, pause for a moment. The old adage of a bird in hand versus two in the bush, absolutely true. And you take a look at the dinar, and you get caught up in the world of hopium, and I'm going to spend it on this and spend it on that and do this and do that, and what am I invested in, and blah, 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 blah. All of those fear factors that are associated with this particular investment that we're all involved with. Well, if you have the opportunity to be able to create something that's going to give you a lifetime, guaranteed lifetime income from this investment, it is absolutely worth paying attention to. This is a phenomenal option. Now, with an annuity return, your commitment to the CRUT could repay you within a few years. Now, I'm going to show you that next. So your CRUT could be directed to 6 different charities, it's entirely up to you, to receive the retained funds upon your passing. And you can include a term insurance plan for the amount of the CRUT to be given to your heirs upon your passing, too. Whew. All right. Now I'm going to show you something that's going to kind of really be fascinating. This is a Charitable Remainder Unit Trust spreadsheet. This is available on my website for you to download. You will get an email with a link to this after the presentation. So in this particular example, your age is 50. I was there once. Okay? Your distribution that you're going to receive from this is 5%. That is the most common amount. The investment return is 7%. Now, this is something that the annuity is doing. You're not doing it. They're doing it, not you. So you essentially have a 2% gain. And initially, you put in $1 million. So I want you to pause for just a second. 50 years old, 5%, 7% gain, $1 million. Let's talk about that $1 million for a moment. For calculatory purposes only, we've been saying $1 for the exchange on the RV. Well, what did it cost you for $1 million dinar? $1,000, approximately. I got into it early. I got over $800. But take a look at that. So for the $1,000 that we managed to put this in here as $1 million, what's it going to feed you? All right, well, your first year, you're going to get $50,000. Now, you have an option. You can receive a guaranteed payment, or you can do the 5% and let it grow. And you'll see that it extends itself. Now, the neat part is, by year 17, so at this particular one, that's 66 years of age, you've gotten the full $1 million back. All of it. How much did it cost you? $1,000. You got $1 million out of it. And also by that 17th year, there's $1.4 million that's available to go to the charities that you picked out. So now this spreadsheet's available for download, like I said, at bobtaxman.net. Now here's the three-way win with a CRUT using an annuity. So you create a CRUT with a tax-free exchange of your IQD for $1 million. That's it sitting in the middle. Okay, you would have an income stream for the rest of your life and potentially receive over $1 million while still alive. One more time, what did that $1 million cost you? In our calculations, we're saying it was $1. That's $1,000. Your selected charities would receive over $1 million on your passing. What a legacy. Tremendous legacy. And then the other part that's so cool is that your heirs would receive a $1 million insurance benefit, which is tax-free. So you get the money, the charities get the money, and your family receives an insurance payment of $1 million, which is never taxable. So let's take a look at this for a second. Let's say you have 10 million IQD, the RV rate's $1 just for calculatory purposes, and the new value is $10 million because you used a CRUT to defer your tax. And remember, you're having to pay on the amount that you receive as a trustee, but you deferred it. So you didn't pay all of that in that horrible freedom tax from the very beginning. So you would pay a heck of a lot less than you would with that freedom tax if you cashed it all in at once. And you'd have a lifetime income, and your legacy for charities would be fulfilled, and your heirs would receive a tax-free insurance benefit as well. Yes, I like the CRUT with an annuity. It is a phenomenal option for all of us IQD investors. And so finally, I want to talk about retaining some IQD. So retaining some IQD really is a good idea, and here's why. You can share your IQD as part of your legacy. Remember, if you have your gifting assignments done and the value gets too high, you can always give more to your children, grandchildren, whatever you want to do with it. You can use charitable contributions with the IQD for a create tax reduction. You can have potential gains on the future of the IQD, and you can add IQD to your CRUT for greater income and deferred taxation. Now, all of these options leaves you in control of your IQD investment. All right, pause. Okay, so we've been living in this world of hopium. The gurus have run us all over the frickin' page. Every Friday, we're going to have this thing RV. It's going to come out at $3.67, okay? And it always leaves you in two things, fear and ambiguity. And I'm going to talk about that a little later, too. But it leaves you where you're not in control of this. It's in control of you. So stop for just a moment and think about the 5 things that I just got through talking about. Okay, and you're going to begin to realize, you've got some options that actually leaves you in control. You have control of it. So the freedom tax, okay, you're going to cash it into the bank. It's going to be a taxable event, an ordinary income, but you use it carefully. Now, I encourage you to pay off your debts. Why? Because psychologically, it's a different game. You don't have a thing hanging on your shoulder that stops you from seeing new options. The IQD Roth, yes, 5 years aging, wonderful. but definitely don't put all your IQD in there. Wouldn't it be kind of awful not to be able to access it? And then gifting assignments. I use these to reduce or eliminate estate taxes and to share with others. And then the CRUT, which gives you a great option, as the ultimate backup. All right, so what you need to know before cashing in. Now, the following steps are suggestions. They're put in order according to the items that I just discussed with you. Now, some will need action before the RV, others during, and then some obviously after. Now, the key to each step will be based on the planning you did before the RV. If you elect to follow these considerations and act on each, you will secure a greater gain from your IQD investment. So let's get started. Step 1. Out of all the 12 steps, this is the most important one, and this is one that you need to do now. Without putting this in play at the very beginning, all the rest of it is meaningless. You've heard Tony talk about objectifying your investment. Objectifying means I create somewhere that I want. This is my goal. I wish this. And then you take a look at how you're going to accomplish it. In this world of dinar, we got 3 choices of how we're going to do it. So we're going to go over that. But the thing that's most important is for you to be honest with yourself and review your dreams and desires for your IQD investment. So it's easy to get lost, guys, in that hopium world of the IQD drama. You've got to step out of that domain. Stop listening. Be realistic about what you can honestly afford to purchase. When I got into this thing 13 years ago, I remember it was making a rush. They even had it on the national news. Everybody was buying dinar. They were skipping their RIP payments, their food payments. They were buying dinar because it was imminent, absolutely imminent. It was coming to fruition. All right? Don't do that. Be realistic about what you can afford. Lay out a plan of what it is you want from your IQD investment. Include your current financial situation, your retirement desires and your options, your age for qualifying for tax-reducing plans, and your desires to share your investment with others, your charitable aims, and write them out. And calculate how achievable these desires are at varying possible values of the revaluation. Will it work at 10 cents, 20 cents, 50 cents, 75, or $1? What is it that you need to accomplish your dream? Now, guys, get realistic about this thing. Be realistic. Don't succumb to those outrageous figures that are being batted around out there in the guru world. So how to plan for your IQD dreams? How much IQD do you have? What do you have in hand? What do you have in a Roth? Where's your money at Warka? All of these items are very much important to know where they're at. Name your desires and attach a price and a value, and then look at possible RV rates. It's just those 3 things. You compare and see if you have enough. Got enough IQD, you got enough plausible rate, and are your desires realistic? So consider other things in your desires. Regrettably, your age, future medical considerations. Guys, look, I'm a seasoned citizen. Sometimes I have a hard time accepting that, and I look at the mirror, and it seems like it's just lying to me. But, yeah, I'm 68. That's my age. So my bucket list gets shorter every day. And so my options to be able to do certain things change. One of the considerations is future medical considerations. Your potential taxes to take a look. What steps have you already taken prior to the RV? Do you need or can you afford more IQD? And there's a great tool to assist you with this. It's on my website. One more time, you're going to get a link to it, so don't worry about it. Okay? And there you'll find this free spreadsheet to assist you with calculating your desires and potential results. This is what it looks like. If you're not familiar with spreadsheets, this is something that you download. You can open it up with Google Docs, with Excel, any other type of spreadsheet program. Now, Google Docs makes it look ugly, but it is still functional. So step 1, you're going to put into that yellow cell right there, how much IQD do you have? That's going to be the first thing you're going to do. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to take a look and enter your desires. Home, debts, car, and you put it in as USD. Right? The next thing you're going to take a look at is How much am I going to be willing to give up in taxes to do all of this stuff? And this is where you have to make a determination. Is the freedom tax worth it? Is it worth taking a look at doing a Roth? What's going to be the advantage of using some of it and then using a CRUT? All of that fits into play in your tax plan here. Then the next thing you take a look at is, what is the rate? What rate am I going to be able to use to accomplish the things that I'm after? Now, in this particular one, I want you to note that calculation of 1 million dinar at 20 cents equals $200,000. Now, the USD desired, which includes paying those taxes, is $175,000 and leaves us a $25,000 difference. It also shows that we still have $125K in dinar that we haven't exchanged or don't need to exchange yet. Okay, now to make your dreams accomplishable, you may need to adjust. The amount of IQD you have, wait for the IQD value to change in your favor, or adjust your desires. It's those three things. And then obviously choose a tax plan. The tax plan is going to augment your dreams. It's going to make them more plausible, more realistic. Now, I also included in there a link to a video which will show you how to do this thing. Now, this is, like I said, it's available on my website. You're going to get a link to it, so don't get lost. Step 2, create your tax plan now. How can you possibly plan if you don't look at taxes? It's the biggest hole in your financial ship. It's the thing that destroys people who come into windfall gains. So put your tax plan together now, all right? So if you failed to plan, you plan to fail. It's just the way it works, guys. You've heard it forever. It's the truth. So now's the time to look at the taxable considerations and select the options to reduce, defer, eliminate taxes on your IQD. Now, if you wait, and most people will, I promise you, if you wait, your options are going to be greatly reduced, and it will simply be too freaking late. Step 3, do the things that need to be done before the RV. Number 1, determine your desires. Go back to step 1. Study your tax plan. That's in step 2. And set up your IQD Roth account. If you're going to do a Roth, remember, it's got to be before the RV. And then do your gifting assignments. Those have absolutely got to be done, and it wouldn't hurt to get your pre-RV CRUT documents done. Step 4, make sure the RVs actually happen. Story time. About 10 years ago, something along that line, I've been into it for 3 years, I shared the IQD possibility in the dreams with a whole slugload of people. And I'm following the guru world. I get a phone call, and lo and behold, there's somebody saying, oh my God, go look. It's out there on this particular exchange site in Europe at $1.17 or whatever it was. I go look. Yep, it sure is. So I start calling everybody. And we have this euphoric hour or two of, wow, we are now millionaires. What are we going to do? And then it goes away. Then it goes away. I did not follow the authority on this thing. So for heaven's sakes, when you think it's going to, don't call your bank. Why do you think they stopped selling dinar? Okay? They're going to get swamped. So just don't bother with them, or they're going to tell you to go somewhere else to get it done. So go online and verify it at the Central Bank of Iraq. They will have it there. All right, they're the best in the primary, and there will be other online courage exchange sites with immediate updates and some reliable rates. Now, when I say reliable rates, you need to understand they're averaging. They're not giving you at-the-moment stuff, which is fine. The average is what you're going to work off of anyway. And determine if the current rate is adequate to meet your desires. Back to step 1. Calculate how much you need for now, remembering the IRS and the state. They've got to be taken care of first. And then calculate your tax liabilities using the federal state tax brackets or contact and get some help with it. Step 5. Selecting a financial institution for cashing in. Now, many IQD investors plan on cashing in with the source they purchased their IQD from. Now, the pro is possibly lower exchange rates. But for heck's sakes, guys, check first. Now, right now, if you buy your dinar from one of these exchange sites and then go to sell it back, you lose 30-some-odd%. It's a consideration. So check with them first. Now, the neat part is most of these are going to have Delarue machines or access to them, and they can make quick deposits into your chosen bank accounts. Now, the con is the actual moving the IQD to their location and security during the exchange. Now, some investors plan on traveling to the exchange locations and handling it directly. That's great. The exchange will require you to bring certain documents to prove your citizenship and residency. That's going to be like a driver's license and a utility bill or a bank statement, something like that. It's got your name and your address on it. And the IQD will be exchanged with them and the USD deposited in your bank account. Now, if you'd like to cash in a large amount of IQD, you'll need to consider security. When I first got into this thing, I was actually working with many millionaires who were buying the IQD by the truckload. They were making plans on getting a private jet to fly their IQD to the cash-in locations they had purchased it from. They were going to have a security team meet them there at the airport, transport all their dinar in an armored car, and then when they got to the location, they were going to have these guys clear out the area, inspect everything, and then allow you to go in. That's how it was going to work, okay? But obviously, that is a tremendous amount of expense and work to go through. It's just a consideration. Now, most IQD investors are going to use a local bank. Now, the pro is obvious convenience and security, the possibly higher exchange rates. I doubt they're going to be more than that 30% by any means, but check first. They also have a delayed deposit of your currency as it'll need to be verified. It'll actually go to a regional area and they'll go through the machines. The smaller branches will have to send it in. There's just no way around that, so you can expect you're going to have 7 to 10 day delay. I want to talk just a moment about FDIC insurance. The FDIC insures checking, savings, and money market accounts and certificates of deposit, or CDs, for up to $250,000. It also insures individual retirement accounts, or IRAs, and trust accounts, like a CRUT. All state and nationally chartered banks must carry FDIC insurance. There's no way around it. Now, the standard deposit insurance coverage limit is $250,000 per depositor, per FDIC-insured bank, per ownership category. So don't go in there thinking, oh, my God, I'm only going to have $250,000 and I got $3 million to put in. Well, it's simple. Multiple accounts, multiple banks, just look at it. There's just ways to be able to make it done. So ask your bank. They're going to be able to help you with those options to make sure you've got that coverage. Now, using the bank wealth management option, and I can promise you guys, this is what's going to happen. You're going to walk in the door with that pink money, and you're going to exchange it for green. I can promise you the bank manager is going to be notified. And he's going to come over and say, hey, now you're this new millionaire. How about let's just help you with your financial planning? And they're going to refer you to their wealth department, which will be very interested in marketing their agenda of products and services. Now, you may think of my presentation I just did as a negative thing. No, it's not. Listen to them. Now, these are people who have already been exposed and are sophisticated investors, and they're going to increase your education. So listen to them. See what options they have that are perfect for your Roth and CRUT funds. Now, see, I noticed those, or I kept those for your Roth and CRUT funds, okay? But just remember, when you cash in your personal IQD, you've created a taxable event, and you'll be giving up a major portion of your gains before getting started into new financial ventures. Listen to what they have to say. Consider it for your Roth or your CRUT, but just be really cautious about putting in your regular funds into it. Now, the freedom tax. Now, once you've elected to cash in some of your IQD, remember, visualize it. You're standing at the counter, the teller line, you're handing them your money. Okay? For heaven's sakes, pay the taxes. Get professional help, but pay those taxes. And then pay the debts and secure the funds you anticipate needed for your professional assistance. So one thing of word of caution, don't fall into the trap that the windfall winners of the lottery and those rich, jocks got. Because it would really be wise to keep this newly found, wealth a tightly held secret. Okay, it's fascinating how quickly long-lost relatives, not so close friends will flock to you on the blessing. You don't need the stress of their situations influencing your carefully constructed plans of your dreams. Now, I live out here on the Oregon coast, and if you know anything about seagulls, if one seagull finds a crab to be eating on, he is bombarded by everybody else trying to take it from him. It's the same thing here. When people learn of the affluence that you're now into, they're going to come to you. Step 7, locating other professionals. Taxes. Guys, it is the one that you've got to pay the most attention to. It's the one that will sink your boat. So you're going to want a CPA used to dealing with larger accounts. Don't go to H&R Block. I'm not denoting H&R Block in particular, but any of these franchise places aren't going to have people that are going to be able to handle your large account. The bank's going to be able to give you a direction more than anybody else does. Interview several CPAs, interviewing several, sharing your dreams and desires. It's really important you tell them that part. And they'll have options, and they'll also have referrals for other professionals that you're going to need, particularly in the legal arena. Now, you're going to want a really good legal source to assist you in securing your future financial well-being, and you want to talk to them one more time about your desires and listen carefully to what they have to offer. And the last one is your financial planner. Now, this professional is going to assist you in making long-term plans with your newfound gains. They also are going to know all about annuities. Okay? And some are going to have some pre-planned ideas with proven approaches. You want to review their ideas and share what you want. Now, the most common thing that I said in all 3 of those was sharing your dreams. Because your final selection is you're going to pick the professional that you are the most comfortable with. And they're the ones that listen to your dreams. Step 8, using the Charitable Remainder Unit Trust, the CRUT. Now, the CRUT will be initiated after the revaluation. By talking about that, we're saying that it would be started, meaning that you would put the money into it. Now, the actual start for it is going to be way ahead of that time. And you can meet most of your desires that you want with that CRUT. So you have a tax-free exchange, so you got 100% of your funds to invest. You didn't give up 47%. You got a one-on-one exchange that's been put to work. You retain a lifetime income, and you create a charitable legacy, and you reward your heirs with a tax-free insurance benefit. Yay for the CRUT, guys. And a federal identification number will be obtained from the IRS when you get this thing started. It's a real simple process, okay? Then you take those documents and the EIN to the bank of your choice. You request to meet with their wealth department. Why? Because the teller line and the usual people there aren't going to know what a CRUT is. So you visit with their wealth department. They know what they are. The branch employees are just not going to know. So you open the bank account in the name of the CRUT, and you populate the account with IQD, not USD. Now, you're going to hear me use the word populate a lot in the presentation yet. What that means is you're going to be putting a particular type of money, currency, into an account. So in this particular one, you're going to hand them the IQD, not USD. Okay, because you'll remember, if you exchange it, it's a taxable event. You don't need that. You want to seek professional assistance for investing in the annuity, and the good news is you cashed in at a premium value without having a taxable event until you start receiving your payments. Step 9, gifting assignments to reduce estate taxes, sharing your IQD. Now, you may have a desire to share your IQD with family and friends. Your prepared gifting assignments will clarify, and that's the key word right there, who the recipient is going to be and the date of the intention. Why is that so important? You may or may not be aware that you're allowed to give $15,000 a year, and I'm going to talk about that a little more down the road here, okay? But before you have to file a particular gifting tax return. Well, if you do it in USD, you got yourself in trouble here. So the date of the intention is before the RV, because you're handing them dinar. The value was established prior to the RV. the amount of the intention, which can be left blank, and you can complete that later on because we don't know what the rate's going to be. So you'll need to give the gifting assignment to the recipient for signing after the RV, not before. Okay? And after that, they sign it. You keep the original copy for your records, and this will be used to calculate your estate taxes for the future. You give the recipient IQD, not USD. It's so tempting to cash it in and give them USD, become the great godfather or whatever. But the fact of the matter is you put yourself in peril. Don't do it. Now remember, if you cash it in, guys, it's a taxable event for you. So let them determine what they want to do with the IQD. And here's something that's really cool. They can do a CRUT. So pause there for just a moment. You decide to do the CRUT. It gives you a lifetime income. It gives you a legacy going to charities. And it gives your heirs $1 million life insurance policy, just as $1 million we were using for calculatory purposes. Well, suddenly, if you were to assist your heirs having their own CRUT with their own IQD, a whole nother generation is being blessed. Let them do it. Let them have their own CRUT. Let them have the lifetime of income. Let them open their eyes to see how valuable it is to see things differently through charities. And let them bless their heirs. Number 10, tax-free gains from your Roth. Obviously, cashing in your qualified IQD Roth. So when it's ready to go, you can cash it into the premium value you decided, because you're the captain here. You withdraw your qualified funds tax-free to do with as you wish. Now, qualified meaning the aging and other requirements have been met, and these funds must be sent to the custodial service first. So I want you to think about, I'm going to use the word laundering. Usually it's got a bad connotation to it, but the idea, it has to go through the custodial service first before the IRS is going to accept it as being tax-free. That's their job. You withdraw only what you need for your plans. Don't pull it all out and burn a hole in your pocket. You may decide the IQD rate's an acceptable rate now, but you're not qualified yet to withdraw it. So cash in your IQD anyway. Put those funds back into other investment options and leave them alone until you are qualified to withdraw. Now remember, you heard me say, don't put them all in there, okay? Don't do it. You have to qualify this thing to get the full tax-free benefits. Okay, number 11, offsetting taxes by sharing with charities. Now, sharing IQD is a great way to do this. You can give IQD and not USD. So if you exchange it first, it becomes a taxable event for you. So what you do is you determine you want to share with a charity. You give them the IQD. They exchange it, and then they give you a receipt back. And you use the donation to offset your federal taxes. Okay, so you put it into your tax on your Schedule A. So it's great. If you don't use it all, you can carry it forward for 5 years. And then number 12, possible future gains. So retaining some IQD on hand as an investment. Now, the IQD is still in its infancy, even though we've been hanging on this thing for over 20 years, but has the potential to be a giant in the region. If you elect to retain some IQD based on future exchange rates, remember, monitor the retention and the value of certain notes. The CBI can and does periodically eliminate or update certain currency notes. So if there's a change announced, you'll want to exchange those old notes for the new ones in a timely manner. Now, when I say this, a lot of people are going to panic. Ordinarily, you have a 2-year time frame, and you'll know about it. So here's a quick review of the 12 steps preparing for the IQD revaluation. Step 1, the most important one. Put your plan together. Use that spreadsheet I've got on there, guys. Put it together and identify your goals. If you don't objectify it, you're going to get lost again. You're going to be bouncing around in the world of hopium, and you're going to lose out on what the real possibilities are. Create your tax plans, a freedom tax, a Roth, CRUT, and retaining an IQD. Do the items needed before the RV. Most definitively, the Roth and the gifting assignments. Make sure the RV has happened. So check online at CBI, other currency exchange sites. Select your financial institution for exchanging your IQD, so check those costs. Love the FDIC options and security. Cashing in and paying off those debts. Remember, this is the most tax-expensive option, but use it carefully, but it really is great. Okay, locate and secure professionals for taxes, legal, and financial planners. Listen, guys, what I do on this one, I suggest you interview six attorneys, 6 CPAs, 6 financial planners. Now, in a small town, that might be a little difficult. But, hey, you're in a different financial world. Go somewhere else. Find 6. Talk to them. Use a CRUT to secure the best RV rate and defer it, obviously, to take advantage of that annuity. Share your IQD gifting assignments. That's important. Accessing your Roth for tax-free gains. Offsetting tax liabilities using the IQD for charitable contributions. And retaining IQD for possible future gains. That's the 12 steps preparatory to the IQD revaluation. Now, some people will say, holy cow, that's a lot. Actually, it's not. It really isn't. And it's not that difficult to accomplish it. The hard parts aren't that difficult, and I'm going to show you why. Now, I want to talk to you about WORCA. For those of you who have a WORCA account, okay, WORCA Bank's rebuilding. Now, when ISIS came in there was all kinds of blow-ups. WORCA at one time had 28 branches. Now they have 1, okay? Your accounts that have been there have grown significantly. They are safe. They are not lost. Okay, and it really is a great part of your tax planning options. So if you have not been able to reconnect with WORCA, there's options available. Now on my website, I do have a WORCA Bank link. There's over 120 email addresses to access, and there's 20 banks with connections to WORCA. So you can find the connection, just keep going. A hint, Mohammed Issa. I feel sorry for this guy. He's the only one at WORCA Bank that does all the international connections. He's the primary person. You'll find his email in there. There's also another warning or another update that came from WORCA about the middle of last month for those who are invested in different things through WORCA Bank, and there's another email address there. I invite you just keep going. Send them, send them, send them, send them, send them, send them, send them. And eventually they will respond. I want to talk about 4 plans, and this is going to be applicable to certain IQD holders. Now, I only put this in here so that you don't feel like, oh, I've only got 1 million dinar, and I got to take a look at doing a Roth and a CRUT and all that kind of stuff. What I'm trying to do is just make it simple for you. Here we go. So for many of this is the best option. So if the amount of IQD is limited, if you've got less than 3 million dinar and you have limited or no active income, that means less than $40,000 a year, okay, electing to just pay the freedom tax and use the remaining gains to secure your needs is a very viable option. For heck's sakes, don't beat yourself up over this. You have made a huge advance, a step into the future. Bless yourself with it. And this will probably be your very best option. Okay? Now remember to cash in only what you need to meet your dreams and seek professional assistance and pay those tax obligations. And then consider retaining some IQD for charitable giving or to offset tax obligations or an increase in value for the future. Now plan number 2 is for the Roth only. Now, there's very few people that actually qualify for the Roth only. So having active income, remember it has to be W-2 or wages, 1099, Schedule C, okay, or an established IRA that can be rolled over. Consider using the Roth as part of your extended retirement option for those of us who are seasoned, okay, a tax-free environment for greater gains in the future. I have to tell you, I have a 19-year-old that I had a conversation with that opened up a Roth. Put 2 million dinar into it. He just wanted to have an environment to be able to do investing so that when he got to be 59 and a half, he would have his gains from it being tax-free. Or, like I said, you can use it for a long-term health care plan, and this is particularly true for older investors. Possible plan 3 is the CRUT only. Now, this is easy. It's got tax-free investing because inside the CRUT umbrella, it is that way, and you're paid as the beneficiary. So if the amount of your IQD is over $5 million and you have limited or no active income, or you may already have a Roth, then the CRUT would be the best option. So cash in your IQD at a favorable tax-free rate. One more time, the favorable rate is up to the captain, which is you. Now, potentially invest your CRUT funds in an annuity for a lifetime of retirement, satisfy your legacy desires for your charities and your heirs. Number 4 is the CRUT and the Roth, and I consider this to be the best of best plans. Now, if your amount of IQD is over $5 million, if you've got active income, an established IRA that can be rolled over into a Roth, consider using a CRUT and a Roth to allow the CRUT to be invested and pay you for the rest of your life and create a legacy, and then use the Roth to care for your extended health care or an inheritance option, which would be great. Now remember, all the investments in the Roth and CRUT are considered tax-free, and this gives you the highest return on your IQD investment. A note on the Roth. It is actually the most applicable between the ages of 40 and 60. If you're too young, most people get discouraged, or they'll set it aside and not think about it, or forget about it, or for some reason not maintain it. If you're too old, you may not see the benefit from it. So for people between the ages of 40 and potentially 60, this is a great option. Putting the two together really is a massive blessing. Now, we've covered all the recommended steps for your IQD tax planning, the 12 steps, the 4 possible plans, the applicable tax consequences. We've covered them all as part of this for IQD's holders and our dreamers. The best steps and plans is for you is your decision. It's not mine. It's yours. But before you jump too quickly, thinking all those things I've shared with you are just too much or too complicated, notice we got this kid being hit with a fire hydrant here, because I know that's how it feels, guys. The amount of information I've disseminated to you tonight is massive. I know it is. You're going to have the opportunity to review that. You're also going to have the opportunity for a one-on-one conversation with me. Okay? But I want to let you know there is a simple way to accomplish all of these things and have the plan that works for you. There's a new service that's available now to assist you with your IQD planning that covers it all. It's called Max Plans for Life from the law offices of David Stephenson. And it's designed to make the most technical and legal parts of your planning simple. That's its purpose, to make it simple. So your Max Plan for Life includes assistance in setting up your IQD precious metal Roth. Are you going to spend the time to search and find the custodial service, the vaulting service, the place to get your IQD? Are you going to know which one's going to be the best? This is what happens. You get personalized help in collecting everything you need to get your setup, the preparation of the form for the custodial service, the option to purchase your IQD and your vaulting services. All of that's included inside of here. That makes it simple. And then also the digital preparation for your gifting assignments. Guys, you don't have to have them notarized. Right now, notaries charge like $15 a page. You don't have to have that. They're digitalized. Okay, so while the new estate tax limits have been doubled, there's still a need to document sharing your IQD. This gives you clarity for sharing with your loved ones, and it also gives you complete records. All right, so the IRS has nothing to come back on here. It's going to prove to them that you did everything right, and that makes it simple. Now, earlier I told you to make multiple gifting assignments. What I'm sharing with you is that when you intend to share your dinar with anybody, I would suggest you make at least 6 gifting assignments for each recipient. For each recipient. That way you've got a back door. And then the other thing is preparation of your own CRUT. Now, the preparation documents are 90% done when you sign up. It's ready to go, okay? And when the RV happens, your CRUT can be completed and executed in hours instead of having to wait for weeks. And it lays the groundwork for 100% tax-free exchange of your IQD at the best rate. So this opens a space for possible investments for an annuity and a lifetime income with a great legacy. Guys, this thing is absolutely remarkable. However, it can be quite extensive in the preparation of it. It's all taken care of in Max Plans. It does it all. So the total package that you have available from Max Plans looks like this. You get assistance with the Roth, so you get tax-free exchange. All right? The gifting assignments, to reduce and eliminate those taxes, it identifies your intentions and reduces those, if the RV increases more or whatever, it is the perfect backdoor. You've got to have it. And then the CRUT, which obviously is going to defer taxes until it's withdrawn and takes advantage of the best IQD value and then use it with an annuity for lifetime and a great legacy. And it can be added to with your available IQD later. All of those are included in this, and that makes all of the legal, the lengthy, the technical part of the plan simple. Now, the rest of the guys, that you can do. Those aren't that hard to do. The hardest part, like I said at the very beginning, was the planning, to identify what it is that you want to accomplish with this IQD investment that you're involved with. So here's what it looks like. If you were not trying to do this on your own, if you're going to go somewhere else and try to figure it all out, professional help to get that Roth set up is about $500. The CRUT setup is usually $5K, and then verified digitally signed documents can be as much as $50 a piece. So that's about $5,550. The max plans for life fees are like this. A one-time fee of $3,000. That gets you your IQD Roth, and you can usually get that done within a week. Okay? Unlimited digital preparation for your gifting assignments, and the preparation of your CRUT to ensure getting your IQD rate exchange at a premium value with deferred taxes and potential income and a great legacy. All of that in $3K. That makes it simple. Now, some people don't need the Roth. Either they're too old, not enough money, they're too young, whatever reason it may be, they may only want to get just the CRUT. Well, it's only a one-time fee of $2,500. Remember, that's half price for what they usually charge. The preparation of your CRUT is to ensure your IQD rates exchange at a premium value with a lifetime income and a great legacy, and you also get the unlimited digital preparations of the gifting assignments. Some people only want a Roth. They only want a Roth. Well, that's great. It's a one-time fee of $500. Okay, and that gets you your IQD assistance, get it all done as quickly as possible, and it gives you the unlimited digital preparation of your gifting assignments. And then for some people, they only want the gifting assignments. Well, when you compare the cost of going down to a notary and having 6 for each person done, yeah, this really makes sense. It's a one-time fee of $100. Unlimited. You can do it in the convenience of being home. So you got unlimited distribution of your gifting assignments, and that makes it really simple. So, what would it feel like? Pause for a second here. Really, just I know there's a lot of data. Just empty your mind out for a moment. Rest for a second. Whew, a lot to take in. So we're going to take all that technical stuff we just talked about and all those steps and all those options that are there, and I want you to realize something else for just a moment. What would it feel like to have all your IQD plans in place? Well, the closest thing that I could come up with is Christmas. Okay? It's the same feeling when your Christmas shopping list is done weeks early. I think I've done that twice. Okay? And then what happens? You can relax and truly enjoy the entire holiday. All right? So what are your IQD dreams? What are your Christmas dreams? What are they? Well, if it's $10 million, that's your dream that you have to play with, and you figured out all the taxes on it. You have financial security, living debt-free. How's that one for a big one? A retirement that's going to sustain you all the way to the point where you're in the nursing home and not being stuffed into a broom closet somewhere, sharing with your family and your friends, creating a legacy of your name, sharing with charities, and even potentially creating your own charities. So what are your dreams, guys? What are they? What do you want to accomplish? How are you objectifying your IQD investment? But I got to promise you, and guys, you know, you've seen it. Without proper planning, all of them can disappear, and you'll end up with nothing. And so just like Christmas, guys, the RV's coming. It's coming, all right? The question is, will you be ready? And right now, you got two choices that sit in front of you. And this is what it looks like. You can do nothing. And I can assure you, most people are going to do nothing. First of all, they get lost in the world of hopium. They're discouraged. They think the whole thing is crazy. They're pulling their hair out. And a lot of them are just simply going to do nothing because they're afraid. Now, here's what happens. When you're that way, it leaves you in fear and ambiguity. Ambiguity is unsureness. It's just you don't know what the heck you're doing. And then there's no tax-free option. When this thing pops, there's no tax-free option available. It's gone. That isn't going to be available at all. Okay? And if you don't address and deal with the taxes, you could potentially lose it all. The IRS is not necessarily forgiving. And your dreams, they don't come true because they were floating around in the cloud of hopium. They weren't tied. They weren't secured. They weren't put in place. They weren't planned. And all of that effort is for nothing. Now, this option costs you nothing now, but it could cost you everything later versus preparing now. Now, this option leaves you in safety and freedom. Pause for a moment. What's it like? What's it like? What's it like? If you know what you're going to do, if you have your tax plan put in place, if you see the value of certain things and you activate it and you do it, you have an assuredness, a confidence that comes with it. It leaves you in safety and freedom. And your tax obligations are limited and potentially tax-free. And most importantly, you know what to do. Who else has been telling you want to talk to 6 attorneys, 6 CPAs, 6 financial planners? Who else is telling you about putting an annuity into a CRUT? And since you've addressed all the potentials, you can actually plan on a future. What's it like to know that you're going to get X number of dollars for the rest of your life because of this investment you've done? And your dreams do come true. And generations are blessed by your efforts and careful planning. Remember I told you about sharing the IQD and then letting them decide what they want to do with it? And what if they put it into a CRUT with an annuity? What would that do for them? How many generations are going to be blessed? Because you took the time to prepare. You were ready. You showed them the way. Now, this option cost you a little bit now, but my gosh, it could save you literally millions later. So here's what you can do now. Now, because you attended this event, I'm offering you a free consultation to review your personal IQD plans and your desires. Done? Now, this is a one-on-one conversation. This is you and me. So you can schedule an appointment. Please go to Max Plans for Life and click the free consultation. Guys, you're going to get this link in an email. Don't worry about it. And you're going to complete this. There's a questionnaire. You're going to fill it out because it makes the conversations much quicker. Okay? And you're going to make an appointment. That's it. And then together, we're going to consider the best options for your dreams. You're not going to be doing it alone. And that is going to make it much simpler for you. So, I want you to know something. We're all in this game together. You, me, Tony, the thousands of IQD investors that I've had the conversation with, we're all in this game together. We've all stepped into something looking toward the future. We're all in this game together. That's why I like having these conversations. I want to have the conversation. I want to hear your ideas and dreams. I learn from them, and I share with you what I've learned from others. And they really open up to a lot of realistic possibilities. It is something that's worth the time to visit with me. And you can obtain a true retirement with extended medical care. And you can plan for the future with a legacy. And you can live comfortably until you do retire and reduce your IQD investment taxes. So all of these things and how to expand your charitable, all of that, we're going to make it simple. We're going to make it simple. I love simple. I hate complicated. So, time is running out, guys. So here's my invitation to you. Let's work together. Let's complete those dreams that you've got drafted out there in front of you. Waiting any longer is going to cost you the majority of your IQD dreams. So my invitation is to make your appointment now. Okay? Now, when it happens, when you have that appointment, I'm going to call you. Don't worry about calling me. I'm going to call you. And then we're going to spend 30 minutes reviewing where you are and then where you want to be. I assure you, it's a great 30 minutes. It's a great conversation. And to do that, it's at maxplansforlife.com under free consultation. Okay,